I think back to where I was, and it wasn't all that long ago, but it seems like eons ago at the same time. But I think I remember like in my initial conversation with you, just saying that I was just exhausted. I felt lousy from the time I woke up in the morning, and I would literally be like counting down the hours until I could go back to bed. I was just tired all the time. And I realized that that was no way to live. Like I wasn't thriving in life. I was just surviving. I was just getting through day to day. I wasn't patient with my family. I wasn't a good friend. I just wasn't doing anything well. I was just going through the motions. I think that was probably my biggest struggle. And then I also realized that I had just put myself so far in the backseat of my own life that my health was really suffering. And I knew that the exhaustion and the brain fog and all of that was a consequence of the fact that I had just kind of let myself go. And I didn't like who I was. I didn't, I don't know if that many people at that time really enjoyed being around me. I was very much like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Like everything was just kind of like, the sun was shining and I would find something bad to say about it. Like I just wasn't happy. To say I did like a complete 180 is probably the biggest understatement I've ever like made in my life. Like I just feel like every single tiny aspect of things have changed. I wake up like naturally in the morning. I'm getting less sleep than I was before. But I have way more energy to like make it through the day. I have days, of course, where like I'm not quite as peppy as other days, but I think that's, to be expected. But I was like always so worried about all the tasks on my to-do list. And now I'm finding that like I feel so good that it's really not an obstacle anymore. Now it's like, I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, I can't fold another load of laundry. And now it's just kind of like, oh, I'll just do that and move on to it's no big deal. I think the biggest thing for me was that my daughter told me, she told me she missed her funny mommy. And now like we're back to like playing games and having fun. And I have like the patience and the energy to run around in the backyard and play with her. And I think for me, that was everything that made it worth it. So I would say, I'm almost going to say that like 100% of it was mindset, because I knew the food and nutrition piece. That wasn't eye-opening for me. I knew how to eat. I knew how to move my body. I was just choosing consistently not to. So I think once I started changing the way I started thinking about everything, and not just about the food and fitness, but just about my life, everything changed. So, definitely I changed the way that I'm feeding my body. I've changed the way that I incorporate exercise and movement, but it would not have happened if I wouldn't have been able to shift my mindset. I think I was like a professional yo-yo dieter. Like I would, and then like I would mess up on like Tuesday morning and it would be like, well, I got to wait until Monday. It's just kind of that like whole cycle. I was always very consistent with my exercise, way less so with my diet. And I also I had tried a lot of other like ways of eating, and honestly, they didn't make me feel as good. So when you don't feel great and you're putting a lot of time and energy into doing those things, it's harder to stick with. So I think it was a lack of like motivation, but I think it was also a lack of finding something that really, really worked for me. And finding that motivation and everything. I know Stephanie has said it 1,000 times where, motivation follows action. And I think that's what it was. I was always looking for the motivation when what I really needed to do was just dive headfirst into a program and wait for that motivation to kind of kick in, keep me going. Like, I have no doubt that this is just going to be what I do for the rest of my life. I think one thing that I really learned in this program that I've never even thought about before was focusing on your why. And like the why couldn't be because I wanted to like wear a certain pair of jeans. And it really focuses on like my moral beliefs and like what I want to accomplish in this world. And I think when you start feeling that with like every bite you're making, that you're making kind of a social statement, it's easier to make that choice. So once I started doing that, it was a whole lot easier. Now, I had been eating vegan before, but I was certainly not plant-based. So that was a little bit more difficult to get to. But now that I'm figuring out how to cook the food, and it's great. My whole family is enjoying it. people come to visit, and that's the way I cook and feed them. And, nobody's saying, where's the meat? Where's anything? So it's just, it works. Pretty much everyone I come into contact with, I feel like notices a difference. My relationships have just changed with so many people. And I think like I'll walk into a room and with friends that I haven't seen in a while, and they'll be like, something's different about you. Like, and I think it's just that, I don't know. I've just kind of everything is, I'm like smiling from that, the outside or the inside out. Like, it's just my whole body, I feel like it's just radiating like joy and gratitude and everything. It's kind of changed all of that. I was just losing out on so many little moments. And I don't think realized how many little moments of joy I experience every single day. And, one of the things that I really worked on during this program was trying to switch from saying like, I have to do something to I get to, and switching my mindset to that has made like the simplest thing, like, weeding my garden or taking out going to the grocery store, taking my daughter to her activities. It's like, these are all things that I get to do. Like, I'm privileged enough that this is my life. And so just missing all of those small moments, those little windows of just exciting things. And, obviously there's bigger ones. Like I said, I have a lot more energy. So now I can take my daughter to the park and we can run around and play tag. Whereas before it was like, you go play, I'm going to sit on a bench. I can't do it today. So I think all of those things just add up to, big memories and big moments. I was very much self-limiting in the way I kind of felt before. I felt like I was too old to start a new career. Thinking about like going back to school or taking on something new was kind of overwhelming, and I felt like I couldn't do it. And I honestly feel like, now I can kind of do anything that I want to. So now I'm trying to dial it in and figure out exactly what that looks like. Because one of the things that, before I started this program, I don't think I really knew who I was. And so finding out who I was and what makes me happy has been huge. I remember one of my first calls with Stephanie, I said, I don't even know what kind of music I like. Like, it's either, like Baby Shark or, there's not a whole lot of, it was all for other people. And so really taking the time to sit down with myself and figure out what I like in my life has been big. So right now I'm kind of in that gathering phase where I'm trying to get all of the pieces of things that I love in my life, put them together and figure out where I can take that and really find my like passion rather than just a career. So I think I always heard self-care as like something that was for other people. Like, I didn't have time for that. Like, I already felt like I was drowning. Like, I didn't have time for self-care. And I think the program really helped me to realize how important that was. And I just remember before it started, I think I told my mom, I was like, I feel like I'm like a ketchup bottle, and there's like a little bit at the bottom, and somebody's like beating the end of the jar to like get like the last drop of my energy out of me. And so I think once I started prioritizing my own self-care, that it just kind of, everything just kind of trickled down, and then it was important to me to sit down with myself. I did a lot of journaling during the program, which is something I had never, ever done before. And just like really just sitting there, writing down my thoughts every day and figuring out what I was passionate about, what was important to me, what things did I really like, or what things were I doing to make other people happy, which I did a lot of. I didn't realize how much of that I did. So just really sitting down and saying, okay, this is actually what brings me joy. This is what brings my friends joy. And I tag along with them for the social aspect. And that's still fine, but I have to understand that that's not my joy. That's not my passion. Mine lies someplace else. I think I was absolutely skeptical. And I think one of the things is for me was that I think I decided that I was going to do this for myself. And like I said, pretty much any other program out there, they very much focus on the food, the nutrition, the exercise. It's, calories in versus calories out, it's spreadsheets and, you're weighing yourself, and it's all about those measurements, and this was much more of a mindset thing And if people are just looking for like a piece of nutrition advice, then there's 1,000 books, there's, YouTube videos galore. But I think working on the mindset was pivotal. And I don't think I understood that when I started. And I definitely understood that now. Like I was 100% skeptical. But I had enough faith that I said, I'm going to give it, a shot. I'm going to try my hardest. And I'm certainly glad that I did.